Make the sign of the Roanoke, 3 of hearts. When the wind turns our thoughts from the road, fall along the fields, green they grow. See the sign of the innkeep, peace at night. Up along the King's Field, real life. I keep awake for a rise to the sky. Soon the seal of the moonbeam thrills my eye. The first line I draw is the love I give to my own. Then come the ties to each other we give, one and all. Nature's fine line of a trail leads me to Rome. I make a line of a note that I'll get when I'm home. From the inside a call pulls me along. So they keep in the night, so they say, not alone. The first line I draw is the love I give to my own. Then come the ties to each other we give, one and all.
And welcome to Pagan FM. We're coming to you from South Jersey, the home of the Jersey Devil, and just outside of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. We open tonight with Rise Up the Call by Kiva off their album Out of the Corner of the Eye. We got the news this week on the 17th of Ariana Lightning Storm's passing. Ariana was the founder and lead singer of Kiva, and I am deeply saddened to report her passing. My heart goes out to the rest of the band and her family and loved ones. Out of the Corner of the Eye was one of the first albums when I first aired Pagan FM so many years ago. As far as what's going on behind the scenes, I've been working on distribution channels. You can now find Pagan FM on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Listen Notes, and Podchaser. More are coming. And we've reached about 21 or 22 states in the United States, as well as Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, Finland, Ireland, and the UK. So thanks, everyone. If you know any artists who you would like to hear on Pagan FM, please be sure to send them my way. For now, you can reach me at Deirdre, Deirdre, at designed, DEESIGNED.net, or message me on the website at paganfm.com. And also, the weather finally turned good enough to ride my bike again, which reminded me that Pagan FM Fitness Group is available on Strava. If you want to get fit, whether it's running, cycling, walking, whatever, Strava is a great app to do that. There are free options, and I set up a group called Pagan FM Fitness. Currently, I'm alone there. I don't like being alone. So consider joining me, and we can support each other in our fitness goals. Again, there's no charge for that. And taking a quick look at the weather, today was a beautiful day in the Philly area. We got to around 60 degrees, and lows tonight will reach about 43. On Sunday, highs will reach 74. Sounds like another gorgeous day. A bit cloudy in the morning, decreasing throughout the day. Sunday night, we'll see lows around 40 degrees with an 80% chance of rain. And Monday night, we can expect showers with a high of about 55. That's on Monday. On Monday night, it'll be mostly clear with lows right around freezing. Tuesday, we'll see a high of around 50 and sunny skies. Tuesday night, temperatures will drop to about 34. On Wednesday, we can expect partly sunny skies and 57 degrees. Temperatures dropping to about 39 on Wednesday night. So, we're going to listen to a bit of music, and then in our Introduction to Paganism segment, we're going to talk about correspondences. A little bit later tonight, we're going to hear from Beth Washington talking about the Magickal Marketplace coming up this coming weekend in Boxborough, Massachusetts. So it's going to be a good conversation. But for now, let's hear some music.
Don't sit down. Nick's having to tune, and you know what we say, we tune because we care. In Nick's case, he tunes because he can, I can't, you see.
Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines. of this time will take the knowing part. Hail to the elements, what waters we command. Freely we are here, and between the worlds we'll stand. Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines beneath the night sky. Dance and be one. I call you out. North sending fire, illuminate the night. Wars from the west, bring power to this right. Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines beneath the night sky. Dance and be one, and the goddess and the god will join us on this night. With them our spells be carried and aid us in the sight. Out to this circle, for we are all kin. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again. Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines beneath the night sky. Dance and be one. Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines beneath the night sky. Dance and be one. Magical fire, your flames they burn higher. With you we aspire to reach for the sun. We'll meet at moonrise, connect with the ley lines beneath the night sky. Dance and be one. 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 you've heard of my fate. It's with a lack of understanding you may slight me. But they say that I'm mad, howling wild, but I am the earth, a mother's child, and I walk with the elements around me. Don't forget tonight the crown on my shoulders, and you know, shake the shadows from your mind and talk to me. Maybe not a crown, I'd be another aspect of the three. So bide your time until I call for thee.
Thank you. Cheers. Yeah, I can't beat the drummer one day.
Okay, so now it's time for our Introduction to Paganism segment. We're going to be talking a bit about correspondences, and I'm not going to go super deep. Really don't have time to go super deep, but kind of the basics, or at least some of the basics. In our Astara ritual last week, you may have noticed that in each of the directions, we related those directions to certain gods and goddesses, certain seasons and aspects of life. You may have also noticed the mention of the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. As this was a first ritual, we didn't delve too deeply into all of this, but I thought that after the ritual, it was a good time to go into some explanation so that we can build on it. Doing so will help you understand the symbols used in ritual. It'll help give them meaning, and in meaning, we have power. It'll help you further in future rituals as well. Correspondences are really all about patterns, and patterns are a fundamental part of human wiring. We use patterns to understand the world, and we use them to keep ourselves safe. Patterns have enabled mathematics, alchemy and chemistry, astrology and astronomy, logic, philosophy, poetry, music, and so much more. We find patterns everywhere. Indeed, without the ability to recognize and utilize these patterns, it wouldn't be likely that we would have achieved any sort of civilization. Certainly, we wouldn't have developed medical arts or intercontinental travel, let alone space flight, nuclear power, our internet, or anything else that has made our modern world what it is. Correspondences, and especially magical correspondences, are special cases of patterns. And whether or not we practiced magic formally, most of us have been using, or at least have been acquainted with magical correspondences on some level all along. Do you know what your birthstone is? Congratulations, that's a magical correspondence. What about your astrological sun sign? Likewise, if you find that wearing certain colors on certain days of the week just works for you, you found another. Some of these correspondences can be culturally influenced. Colors associated with boys and girls, happiness or sadness, life or death, can change over time and civilization, as well as with certain systems of magic. This is one reason why certain magical systems are better suited to certain people. Growing up in a Western world steeped in Western culture, Eastern magical traditions might not be as easy to comprehend, at least at first, because we haven't been acclimatized to that way of thinking. Our patterns, our systems of correspondences are entirely Western in their nature due to our upbringing. Likewise, people from Eastern or Oriental parts may need to put forth a bit more effort to become comfortable with Western magical thinking. This isn't because one is necessarily better than the other. It's because our cultures and our correspondences, our ways of thinking, have taken on differences over time. This isn't to say that we can't learn each other's magical systems. It's been done over and over again, but it takes some dedication. It takes some rewiring. In magic, we have systems of correspondence in order to harmonize the various energetic elements surrounding us in our efforts when we are doing a magical work. In engineering terms, we're trying to keep our energetic systems in phase. When signals are in phase, they add. When they're out of phase, they subtract or interfere. What we want in our magical work is to have as many positive signals in phase as possible so that their combined energy is additive. That is, their energy is working together harmoniously. When that energy is less harmonious, we might get weaker, unpredictable, or no results at all. Think of a magical work, a spell, or a ritual as an automobile trip. It could be a short or a longer one. Longer trips will necessarily require more resources, just as would a complicated work of magic. In our automobile excursion, the harmonies we would need might include the proper amount of air in the tires, good tread on the tires, oil of the right type in the engine, a charged battery, fuel of the right type in the gas tank, coolant in the radiator, and so forth. These elements need to be in place for the automobile to properly function. Likewise, we, the operator, should be prepared, sufficiently rested, especially if this is a longer journey, so as to not fall asleep at the wheel, to be attentive to road signs. We should not be under the influence of substances. We should be in possession of the proper license and insurance and that sort of thing. We might be used to driving. We might tend to take it for granted. There are a multitude of components necessary to conduct a safe and successful trip. Likewise, in a magical work, we need to ensure that our magical vehicle is in order and that we are in order prior to venturing out. Obviously, in a magical work, we don't have physical tanks to fill unless you wish to count water, salt, and the like that might be on our altars. But certainly, we don't need the same sort of fuel and coolant and windshield washing fluid as our automobiles do when we're performing a ritual. But having things in order can certainly help our work. How is this? A bit ago, I mentioned the concept of phase and the way things can be in or out of phase. If you were to listen to instruments that are in tune playing together, the resulting tones will be in phase and the music will be pleasant. It'll work. On the other hand, a piano that hasn't been maintained and is out of tune, even if it's played by a skilled pianist, will still sound out of tune. It may be so dysregulated that it's almost impossible to play. An amateur orchestra with musicians who have difficulty tuning their instruments can make for uncomfortable listening. A guitar that's not properly set up will play out of tune because the intonation is incorrect. Whenever the instruments or musicians aren't working together correctly, the music isn't quite what it should or could be. Individual instruments of an orchestra or a band need not only to be tuned, but they need to be tuned together to work as a whole. Musicians need study and training and practice together to perfect timing and dynamics. Beyond this, the acoustics of a performance space need to be taken into consideration. The number of people in an audience can affect the acoustics of a performance space, and a good conductor and sound engineer will take these things into account in an individual performance. And it is the same in magic. In our magical work, just as in a concert, there is much that can come to play in making a ritual or a spell as effective as possible. I've mentioned in the past that a spell needn't be complicated. We don't need spectacular tools or complex rituals, and we really don't. Sometimes looking to the moon or the sky or simply closing our eyes and saying, "Help," is all we might need. That itself is a ritual. There are times when something more elaborate is called for, and that is when the tools and the correspondences and the planning come together to make something that can be quite beautiful or powerful, even if it might seem a bit complicated at first. When we're trying to change the course of something dramatic, say, perhaps the direction our country is going in right now. That could be something where we're calling in multiple people from multiple traditions and trying to get them all on the same page. This is where something elaborate will come together. And we're trying to bring in all of these elements and all of this symbolism to bring everybody's mind and everybody's spirit into unison in one ritual. We aren't going to get into all of the aspects of this, just the correspondences right now, and even then not fully. There's no way to be completely exhaustive, even on this topic, in the short time we have, even in one whole book. But having said what I've said so far regarding the purpose, let's now look at what we're talking about exactly. Going back to our ritual, We can start in the north. What do you think of when you think of the north? If you're in the United States, Canada is further north. You might think of the North Pole. You might think of the cold. We also recognize that the sun throughout the year will appear farther south in the winter. And farther south in the winter and farther north in the summer. In the southern hemisphere, this is different because the seasons are opposite what they are in the northern hemisphere. In each of the directions, what we're trying to do is to find and harness the energy that resonates with that direction. The question we need to ask is, what is it that will resonate with that direction? What do we know about the north? We know that in the northern hemisphere, in the winter, the sun reaches its most southward position in the sky at midwinter, and the north is left in relative darkness. We know the positions of the stars in the sky at winter, so we know what zodiac signs are prominent at midday and at night. We know that in the northern hemisphere the days are shorter and colder than they are in winter. It makes sense then to associate the north with winter, with darkness, with the cold. When I talk about the elements, I'm not talking about chemical elements such as hydrogen, helium, and lithium, but the Hellenic arguments of earth, air, fire, and water, and also spirit. While you might see different associations, the associations that I use for north are these: the element of earth. Above the Arctic Circle, it was thought that the sun had sunk down into a cave in parts of Alaska, Greenland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. The sun will sink below the horizon and not be seen for up to 2 months or more. It's for this reason that many spells were used to try to encourage the return of the sun. With the north, we associate, therefore, the element of earth, as in a cave, darker colors such as black, the Sabbats of Samhain and Yule, the zodiac signs of Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. In nature, we look to the minerals. For a time of day, we equate the north with night. A symbol of the north might be the spiral. And for a life event, we're considering death with the knowledge that every ending is a beginning. And then we have the symbol, the spiral, where every ending is a beginning. And the tool of the north is the crystal or the stone. Presently, at this point in the year, we've moved through Imbolg and Ostara, or the spring. Today, as I'm airing this, it is the vernal equinox, which is associated with the element of air and the direction of the east. Here we're focusing on symbols of birth and fertility, such as the egg. Zodiac signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And in nature, we're considering creatures such as birds and flying creatures that are associated with the air. Colors for the east include violet, pink, white. Again, these can change, and what matters is what works for you in your own individual work. I could go further through these and through the other seasons of the year, but we are going to get to those as we move through the cycle of the year. These are also going to be in our Pagan FM Book of Shadows, and they're going to eventually be on the website. But for now, let's hear some more music, and then we're going to get into our interview with Beth about the Magickal Marketplace coming up.
There's a place in the cathedral by the stain upon the floor, near the spot shines, stained glass double doors. Maybe if you come just the right time, you might see me standing there exactly where I promised her I'd be. She left a month before messengers arrived. Word that on the battlefield, countrymen survived. Soldiers had attacked gilded cart upon the way, but I know inside my deepest heart she'll be here any day. twist or by draw, or you may be chosen by talent or claw, with reverence observe, chance and fate take their turn. Spirit is answering, and truth will emerge. I am the oracle, God between a world where you walk and the unseen. I am the oracle, I will speak. Unburden your heart and receive. Paths of the ancients leave echoes and footprints, their wisdom enshrined in the fabric of nature, etched in each stone and held fast in the tangles of roots. Ask and your answer is there. Ask and your answer is there. Whispers of ancestors still in the wind are setting the stones when the chosen path is swirling in your head. Ask and your answer. The questions you have. Ask and your answer. Your heart running wild and your blood are heard and received as a child of the earth. Ask and your answer.
and welcome, Beth, to Pagan FM. How are you doing? So, why don't you introduce yourself for the listeners here?
Beth Washington. Now first it was the owner. Now I'm the president of the Magickal Marketplace Corporation, which is now 501c3. And under that, we have two events. We have the Magickal Marketplace and Psychic Convention, which is happening in a week. And we just added Celebrate Samhain as well. So we have both events.
I didn't know that you were doing Celebrate Samhain. So these are two events that have been going on for quite a while.
Well, Celebrate Samhain, as you may know or may not know, there's a Kevin Sartoris. That was his event. And he passed away 2 years ago. And I was able to pick up the event the year he died and finish it for him. And then another group took over the event and decided this is not something they want to do, so it was given back to me. And this just happened recently. So I'm actually already working on trying to get a 2026 event going. So, but the Magickal Marketplace is currently my huge consumption of time right now.
So I work on one of the committees that does an annual event down here in New Jersey. We call it the Tri-Quarter Gathering. It's a kind of Quaker event. It's a one weekend event. So basically a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what a huge amount of work it is. Although this is very different. The event that we do is very different because we organize meals for people and things like that. But we don't manage as many vendors and performances and things as you do. And we've got a huge body of volunteers. We've got one committee that organizes the events and another committee that we've got a committee for everything because that's what Quakers do. But I am just kind of amazed. I was looking at like your list of things going on. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, how many people do you have organizing all of this?
Well, when the Magickal Marketplace first started, it was just Mike Dolan and myself. He has since stepped away from the event to pursue other fun things. And I sat there and I said, well, I can't do this by myself. So I formed a committee, anyone who would volunteer. So our sound guy, Jeff Wade, is stepped up to be one of the people helping to run the event. And I've got like Deb Jarvis, Jess, and my daughter Cassie, and Rafi, Rafi's also the person that follows me around when I do Renaissance fairs as Moondragon Designs. So I think I'm forgetting somebody, which is bad because we just had a meeting last night. But my brain is mush. So, but we've got a good group of people, and we all have Catherine, that's the other person. We all have different strengths, and we do different things well, and we work well together, and everything gets done. I mean, we have, we start off with monthly meetings, and then we go to every 2 weeks, and now we're every week. And we run the event, and we'll have one more meeting after the event for, the brain dump, what it went well, what didn't, and how can we fix it. And then we start working I'm actually already working on the 2027 event. I'm working on my keynote speaker, and I'm already working with the hotel to get the contract going for the event. So, because these events take more than a year sometimes to organize, because there's just so many things. And especially when you're looking for a good keynote speaker, you got to get them early. It took me 5 years to get Christopher Penzak because his schedule is so packed. So
I can imagine. So I'd like to get get into the history a little bit. So this is your 13th year, I believe.
Technically, it's our 15th year, but we had to take 2 years off because of COVID. So it's our
Okay.
13th year of actually holding the event.
And I
But
remember, I think when you started out, it was in Nashua,
it was in Salem, New Hampshire,
Salem. Okay.
at the
And
Little Masonic Lodge there in Salem, New Hampshire. And we took over all the rooms that we were allowed to go in. There was one room, which is their sanctuary, which we were not allowed to use. But, and if we go back even further, before that first event, there was a bunch of us sitting under a tarp outside at a sacred place in Canaan, New Hampshire. And Mike Dolan was there, and Jenna was there, and I was there, and Deb Jarvis was there, and a whole bunch of us were there. And we're all sitting there going, there's so much talent in this group of people right here that we could hold an event and we could cover all the topics. We can do music, we can do vending, we can do workshops, we can do food. Dawn Hunt catered that first Magickal Marketplace. And Mike Dolan and I took the reins and we ran with it. And all of those people that were there under that rainy tarp were part of the event. And it was great. We proved that we could do it. And right after that event, we started looking for a bigger venue. And we ended up going to the Radisson, it's now the Sheraton, Terra in, it's not the Terra anymore. It's the Sheraton, I know it's that, the one in Nashua. And then we moved up to the Nashua Marriott Courtyard. We outgrew that hotel, and now we're at the Boxborough Regency in Boxborough, Mass. And we haven't used all the space yet, so we got room to grow.
I can imagine that's another reason why it takes so long to plan, is because you've got to book enough hotel space and things like that. And that's not something that you can get on the spur of the moment either.
No. We're lucky this hotel likes this event. They like working with us. So this is our 4th year with them, I believe. Or is it our 3rd? I don't know. I can't keep track anymore. I think it's our 3rd year with them. And like I said, we haven't taken over all the space yet, so we've got room to grow, and they're willing to keep having us until we get too big to be there. And then I was thinking, where are we going to go after that? And it's probably Boston, because there are no hotels around here that are big enough. After the Boxborough Regency is pretty much the biggest event space you're going to find in this area. So
that's pretty amazing. So yeah, so started 15 years ago, you're still going strong. You have had some really incredible people who've been a part of this in the past. I know that I met Raven there a few years ago. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Frenchie and the Punk were there at least once or twice.
Oh, I think we've had them 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
We had them last year. They were at the Masquerade Ball last year, and they really rocked the joint.
They're pretty amazing. They're some of my favorite people. So,
well, one year we had Laura Tempest Zarkroff, and she was our featured speaker, and her husband, Nathaniel Johnstone, had his band, and he played at the Masquerade Ball, and they were awesome too. The room was screaming. It was awesome. We loved having them. Last year was Christopher Penzak. This year we're focusing on Kirk White. We've had Jason Mankey all the way from California, and we've had Heron Michelle from, I believe it's Georgia. She's one of those southern states just before Florida. We loved having her. And we go back and forth. Sometimes we'll do somebody local. Sometimes we'll, get somebody who has to travel. We're hoping to get somebody who has to travel next year. I'm already working on it. Can't say. Don't have a confirmation, but don't want to ruin it. But I'm really hoping that she'll say yes.
So this is a really good example of why people should look at this as something that they want to come back to year after year after year. So what's lined up for this year?
So this year we've got our theme, because it's our 13th year, is superstition and myth. Kind of goes with the number 13, so we're all over it. Kirk White, again, is our featured speaker this year. We have Ashbourne as the band that will play during the Masquerade Ball. And I'm excited for the Masquerade Ball because with Superstition and Myth, it's going to get really creative what the costumes are going to be. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of black cats, but it'll be cool. We reduced
Before,
the number. Sorry.
sorry, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about like each person? So, who is Kirk White, and why do people want to see him? He's one of my favorite people too.
I've known him for so long, I don't know what to actually tell you. But he's an author. He's written several
Yep.
books. He owns a property up in Vermont where he actually hosts an event in the summertime, and he's been what I consider he's now an elder in the community.
His hair matches his name now, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the interesting things that people like to hear about him is that he was elected into office. Couldn't tell you what office it is, but I know he serves in a political office in Vermont, and he's been in that office for years. So, I don't know. I just really like him. He's a really genuine person. He's always supported this event, and I don't have anything bad to say about him. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, he is genuinely kind and knowledgeable, and
Very knowledgeable. Yes.
yeah. And then, who is it that you mentioned after Kirk? Was it?
Well, I had Christopher Penczak last year.
Yeah, but no, coming up this year.
Oh, this year. Okay, let me pull up a list because
Yeah.
my brain is mush, I will admit. So we have, let's see here. We have Sophia Schultz. She comes every year, and she's really strong with Egyptian magic. So she's going to be doing a class on Egyptian magic, and she's also going to be doing a class on oracle cards. We have Roxy Zwicker. She's
I love
almost
Roxy.
a celebrity around here, and she's going to be doing a couple of workshops on colonial New England superstitions and Victorian superstitions. We have
You get
Shaw
a
Blackburn. She'll be there with workshops. Sorry?
If you get a chance to do one of Roxy's graveyard tours or something like that too, they're always fun.
Oh yeah, I've done one. They're fabulous. She tells great stories.
Yep.
Shaw Blackburn is there. If you've done Eastern Mass Pagan Pride, you'll know her. She'll be doing aura photography in the vendor room, and she'll also be doing a couple of classes. A couple of my favorites, Matuka Moonbear and Ren McGowan, they'll be there teaching. JC Artemisa will be doing our children's ritual and doing a children's workshop. Diana Harris, she goes everywhere. She does everything. She's a sweet lady, and she's doing a workshop on crow medicine. And one of my friends, Kate Holly Clark, she's a very eclectic vendor, but she's going to be doing some make and takes, where you pay a small fee for materials, and then she's going to have a Spell Oils 101 class and a String Binding Your Own Witch Book class. Tracy Andrick will be there with her Labyrinth Walk. Dr. Addie Two Owls will be there with a couple of workshops. Suzanne Ruthier, Marcia Conlon, Bruce Hoskins, Red Hoskins, and of course Dawn Hunt. We love having her. Every time I go to a class with her, it always feels like you want to go home and cook everything. And there's more. There's more. I could go on.
Yep. I love Dawn's oils.
Yes. We love having her as a vendor. She will be there as a vendor. And, and she'll be presenting workshops. And of course, her husband will be performing on the main stage in the vendor room during the day. And he'll be starting off the day, I believe, on Saturday.
That's awesome. So, you already mentioned Justin as one of the performers, and you've got Brian Willowfire, who's going to be a performer.
Yep. We love having Brian. He used to perform back when I was just attending Pagan Prides before the Magickal Marketplace even existed, and we got him to come back, and he's performing again. We got the Misfits of Avalon, which is one of my personal favorites. One of them plays a dulcimer, the other one plays a guitar, and sometimes they get their son to come. He plays the violin, and the wonderful music. Peter Jansen, he likes to come every year. He's just an amazing musician. The Liars is an a cappella group, the Ladies of Integrity, Aristocracy, Repute, and Society. And the acronym is the Liars. Nice group of ladies. Derek O'Sullivan and Ed Newton are coming as they call themselves Untitled. They used to play with Jenna Green, and now they're doing this thing together, just the two of them.
I saw them at Eastern Mass Pagan Pride also.
They might have been there. You might have seen them perform with Jenna, and you might have seen them perform separately.
I think I saw them separately.
Yeah.
But I do like them.
And then one of the new additions to the event this year is Andrew Prite. I'm probably saying it wrong, so if Andrew, you're listening, I'm sorry. But Andrew is he's a soloist. He plays on the guitar. I found him at Ren Fairs. And he just gets singing, and you just want to get up and stomp your feet and clap your hands and dance with him. He's awesome. And, of course, we've got Zabel and the Zabellis, so we'll get some belly dance action going on the main stage as well. They are very talented, that group of ladies.
There you go. And, of course, you're going to have some ritual going on.
Yes, we're going to have our main ritual will be an Ostara-based ritual. And the person leading the ritual will be Alex Wright. And we're very excited to have her come and do this ritual. She used to be the high priestess for the Temple of Witchcraft, and then she broke out on her own. So now she is doing things on her own. And I asked her if she'd come and do it, and she said, yep. And we've got like a children's ritual that's going to happen. We're going to have, of course, an opening ritual and a closing ritual. And I believe there's another ritual. Hold on. I'll look that up real quick. All done by the Serenity Circle Coven. They're a Nordic group, so their rituals are very different from what most people are used to. And I just really love their style. I love what they do and how they do it. Oh, yes. Bloodline Release Ritual, which is all about cleansing, getting rid of ties you don't want, but creating ties with the ancestors, the ones that you do want. It's a fairly complex ritual, but I have a feeling that people will walk out of it feeling great.
Speaking of like family ties and things like that, one of the things that I've started doing in my own ritual work is, so my heritage is from Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I do is the salt that I use in my work is sourced from that part of France. So I try to bring things in like that. But I think it's kind of important to get in touch with your own ancestral heritage. So I think that would be really kind of awesome especially for people who have that sort of heritage too. Mm-hmm. So, for people who might be concerned, people maybe who are listening who aren't pagan or whatever, is this a kid-friendly event?
Yes, it is kid-friendly during the day. During the evening, some of the workshops are more adult content and might not be appropriate for children. So for the workshops that are in the evening, we usually have an 18+ requirement to attend the workshops. But there's other things going on during the evening. There's the candlelight labyrinth walk. There's a dance performance. There's a drum circle. There's the masquerade. The kids are welcome at all of those.
Okay, so there's something for kids to do all the time, which is awesome.
Not really all the time. That's actually our goal for next year, is to have a children's room.
Yep.
So this year we have, like I said, we have the children's ritual, which is held by JC Artemisia. And she'll also be teaching a children's class. She writes and sells pagan children's books. So
that's awesome.
But the event is overall children friendly. One of the things I try to strive for with this event is to keep the energy good, clean, and even. So this year I've put out a request that nobody talk about politics, please, at this event. Not this year. Yep. Let's just keep that under the covers and enjoy the event.
LGBTQ friendly? LGBTQ friendly?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Has to be. Yes, definitely. We have a security team led by my daughter, and if anything is out of place, we'll take care of it.
That's awesome.
We are accepting anybody can come. This event is about education. It's about learning the differences between, what you think happens and what really happens, what it really means to be pagan. So anyone can come to this event and learn a thing or two. We have Susan Ruthier is teaching a Paganism 101 class, which is actually perfect for people who want to learn what it is to be pagan. So if you're not and you're curious, take the class. You'll learn something.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing is there is really nothing scary or frightening here.
No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's all, every religion has its scary pieces. So I won't lie to you. It's not all roses and butterflies, but there's nothing in this event that should scare you. Nothing at all. It's all about education, learning what it is, how it is.
I think the scariest part about any religion is the stuff that we find out about ourselves.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything that I've missed that you want to share?
Well, our biggest addition this year, because every year we add something, and what we added this year is on Friday night we have a VIP dinner with it's called the Dinner with Spirit with psychic medium Josh Simmons. Unfortunately, for those listeners who are listening to this podcast, those tickets are no longer on sale. We had to cut the sales off today, or actually yesterday, so that I could give a head count to the hotel because it's a food base. There's a dinner, they have to order food, so they need to know how many. But next year we'll probably do another one, so don't miss it. Don't wait to order tickets and find out you can't get them at the last minute. But we have, besides the vendor room, which are all hand-picked vendors, you won't find any people selling windows or gutters or, Tupperware. These are all artisan vendors. And there's live music all day in the vendor room. And then we have 16 psychic readers, and they're all different. We don't have 16 tarot readers or 16 mediums. We have lots of different things. We have somebody doing tea leaves. We have somebody doing runes. We have somebody doing hoops of life. We have an astrologer. We have tarot and oracle cards and mediums too. And we've got a couple of teams, where there's two people that can do the readings and they work off of each other. That's kind of interesting too. And we have services like massage and Reiki and reflexology. So if you want a moment to and that's in our quiet room. So it's separate from all the other rooms. It's a quiet room. You go in there, you can decompress while somebody works on you if you need a break. And these are people I know, they're good people. And then of course we've got like 4 workshop spaces going on all day. So there's always something to do, something to learn. And we have a lunch concession, so if you get hungry, there's some place to eat. There's also a restaurant attached to the hotel, so you can all get a full meal, or you can get pizza and a salad at the concessions. We make sure that nobody goes hungry. It's just, I can't even begin to tell you everything that's going on because there's just so much. You need to go to the website.
How do people find that?
So the website is the Magickal Marketplace, magical spelled with a CK. So themagicalmarketplace.com. And that will bring you to our website. There are lots of pages. We list everything that's going on. There's a link to get tickets if you want to volunteer because you can't afford to go, but you want to go. We volunteers can get in for free. We're taking volunteer names now. We're building the schedule for the volunteers. But everything is there on the website. Everything you need to know is there. let me see. This is a
Got a link.
volunteer-run organization. Nobody gets paid. And we just became a 501c3, which means we're tax exempt. And that money that we're saving is going right back into the event. We're a nonprofit. So everything, any money that comes in goes back into the event.
There is a link to the event. If you go to PaganFM.com, there's you click up on links, and right now you're the only link there. But
We're the only one you should care about,
that's okay. Hey, I just started Pagan FM back up in January, and I just got the website up, so I'm working on it. But you're there, and you're the first link.
Yay.
And how do people get to the venue? You're in Boxborough, Mass. Where is Boxborough, Mass? And how
in
do
the
people
middle of
get
nowhere.
there?
We are in the middle of nowhere. It's right off of 495.
Which is perfect. And 495 is you avoid the Boston traffic.
Yes, we are about 45 minutes out of Boston, west of Boston. We're about 25 minutes south of Lowell. So, yeah, but once you get off the highway, you're almost there. I mean, it's literally less than a half mile down. You take the right and it takes you right to the hotel. There will be signs. We do put out signs. We can't put it on the highway because they will take it and throw it away. So, but once you get off the highway, there will be signs pointing to the event to help you get there. But really, it's not far from the highway at all. And it's all free parking, and there's loads of parking. So that was a big plus for us, because one of the hotels we used in the past had almost no parking. And it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So this one was great because, like I said, it's a big venue. And there's hotel rooms. If you want to get a hotel room, just call the hotel. Tell them you're with the Magickal Marketplace, and you'll get the hotel rate for the Magickal Marketplace. What else? I thought of something that I was going to say and I forgot already. Gone. Brain is mush. I mentioned the 501c3, Josh, parking, tickets. Tickets, if you buy them online before the event, they are discounted. The ticket prices go up at the door.
Okay.
And once the event starts, the ticket sales online stop.
Okay.
So they actually stop the night before so that I can print reports on Friday morning and be ready for admissions when people come and show up.
I really wish I could be there this year. Maybe next year. Who knows? Maybe one of these years I'll do Pagan FM from the event.
Mm-hmm.
That
would be awesome.
I did that. And Grey Wolf Moonsong was doing his thing in Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. I did an event live from there, which was kind of fun. But who knows? Maybe we can arrange something like that at some point.
That would be cool. We'd love to have you.
All right. Well, we'll see what we can do. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us on Pagan FM. It's been a lovely time.
Me.
In the secret womb of night, you can set your mind walking. Hear the taloned ones take flight. Hear the darkened world talking. The fighters turn, the lovers twine. Bloody claws come lapping. Changing thoughts of open minds. The soaring wings now flapping. Circle cast, the dream is sound. Yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will grow. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret. Mother, I hear your ancient sigh. And we all need some rest, don't we? A little space, a brief respite. That we be not so sad and lonely. Circle cast, the dream is sound. Yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will grow. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret. In the secret womb of night sleeps the seed of all beginnings, the mind that sets the dream alight, sets its universe a-spinning. Mother, I hear your ancient cry, and we all need release, don't we? From our solitary fight. So let me touch the dream, let me touch the blossoming night. Circles cast, the dream is sound. Yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will grow. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret.
Let's do something beautiful no one will expect. Inspired something kind, give and not collect. Let's do something beautiful, dial a friend before they call. And if you hear them stumble, catch them when they fall. For the future's like a seed in our hands. It will better grow in soil than in sand. And we can plow and sow together, hand in hand. And watch the flowers spread throughout the land. Let's do something beautiful. Let's do something beautiful, set our course and take the reins. There's a bright and better future. It's time to make a change. Let's do something beautiful, go and play out in the sun. We've been too long in the shadows. Let's go and have some fun. For the future's like a seed in our hands. better grow in soil than in sand. We can plow and sow together hand in hand, and watch the flowers spread throughout the land. Let's do something beautiful. Let's do something beautiful. Take the high ground. It's better to have sung your song than never made a sound. Let's do something beautiful. Set our sails to calm the wind and leave the rats upon the shore. That's a race no one wins, for the future's like a seed in our hands. It will better grow in soil than in sand. We can plow and sow together hand in hand, and watch the flowers spread throughout the land. Let's do something beautiful. Let's do something beautiful.
And we just heard Gaia Consort with Secret Womb of Night from their album Secret Voices, and Dave the Bard with Something Beautiful from his album Raise the Flag of Green. All right, so tonight we're taking a look at Raven Grimassi's A Grimoire of Italian Witchcraft, Practical Spells and Rituals of the Old Religion. As I mentioned in the interview a few minutes ago with Beth Washington, I had the opportunity to meet Raven at the Magickal Marketplace some years ago. That was back when it was being held in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I found him to be truly genuine and approachable. Sadly, Raven passed in 2019 due to pancreatic cancer. This book, A Grimoire of Italian Witchcraft, published by Crosscrow Books, which is distributed by Red Wheel Weiser in 2025, sort of suggests that it is being published posthumously. I know that Llewellyn has published at least one work by Scott Cunningham posthumously. I reviewed Cunningham's Book of Shadows some years ago on PaganFM. I'm not exactly sure how A Grimoire of Italian Witchcraft came to be. It might have been a book he had been working on. I'm not sure. But it seems to be true to Raven, so far as I can tell. As a grimoire, this is pretty much a complete system comprising 13 chapters, 8 appendices, and a bibliography. I love my bibliographies. There is enough information here for anyone to learn the theory and practice of Italian witchcraft as a solitary practice. The chapters include a look at Italian witchcraft, the divine in Italian witchcraft, between the worlds, making contact, signs and symbols, raising and drawing power, the art of magic, Aradia, woman of power, the moon tree, magical and ritual gestures, Italian folk magic, the ritual tools, and the rituals. What you will find in this book will differ somewhat in what you will find in books about Wicca, Druidry, and in other systems of magic. Tools will go by different names. Objects used in the ritual will be different. For example, I've not seen the spine of a fish used in Wicca, but you will find it used in an oracle spell. Nor in much of Wicca do you find spells for revenge, but such spells do seem to be a part of Italian witchcraft. As I believe I mentioned when reviewing Aradia, Wicca espouses harm none. Italian witchcraft tends to be more harm not the innocent, and leans more to a retributive form of justice, an eye for an eye, than does Wicca, which is where I tend to part ways with Italian witchcraft. That's not to say that the whole system is wrong, and I think that some people might find retribution worthwhile. It fulfills the sense in some people of a need to have others feel what they felt in order to be made whole. I lean more towards a desire for restorative justice, in which relationships can be healed and in which those who do bad things can, if possible, be rehabilitated and made once again parts of society. And I tend to think that retributive justice leaves the offender less likely to wish to return to society after experiencing wrath, rather than having an opportunity for penitence. When looking at Leland's Aradia and comparing it to this book by Grimassi, one thing that I find that I really like is that in Aradia, calls to the goddess were often sort of threatful, whereas in a grimoire of Italian witchcraft, those threats seem to be gone. The practitioner in Grimassi's system seems to be much more humble before deity, and I appreciate that. Again, Italian witchcraft is not really for me, but if it's something that you're interested in, anything by Raven Grimassi is worth looking into. Although he did write about more than just Italian witchcraft, he also wrote about Wicca and other forms of magic and witchcraft. And to that end, I'll add another resource. House of Grimassi is a website dedicated to preserving Raven's legacy. And on that website, you can learn about Raven's books, Stregoria, and many other resources. It's well worth looking at, and you can find it at https:// House of Grimassi. That's HOUSEOFGRIMASSI.com. And let's listen to a little more music, and then we'll go into our PaganFM Almanac and see what's coming up towards the end of the program here.
A flash of thought from long ago, when I was but a maid. As I walked the heath, a cloud rose up, and I lost my Then he came striding through the mist in his cloak of elfin green. He took my hand, he led me home. I thought he must be a dream. I watched him walk back through the mist. I tied my girdle in a lover's knot. The knot tied true, I felt fate twist. I knew intent, but soon forgot the feeling of falling for Lancelot. The feeling of falling for, knew I was falling for, hopelessly falling for Lancelot. The sun shone bright on Camelot, my troth made me a queen, and Arthur's court, the finest place the world had ever seen. One day he came to tournament, and he bested every night. And I recall that misty day, and felt my heart take flight. The ladies watched him, all enthralled. The air was dense with lovers' knots. We'd all have hastened if he called. The ladies whispered, hatched their plots, all of them falling for Lancelot. falling for Lancelot. And in the cloister where I stay, history flickers like mist. I forget the names of kith and kin, but remember lips I've kissed. And he comes dancing through my dreams of a future that I dread, where every maid keeps not her heart, but gives it to him instead. I watch him in a million masks, and the ladies still tie lovers' knots. They lose their sense to as he asks. They lose their hearts and all for naught but the flickering ideal of Lancelot, the flickering memory of legend and canon of the arms of Gwens and their Lancelots. All of you falling for, foolishly falling for, knowing we're falling for, desperately falling for, hopelessly falling for, helplessly falling for, vitally falling for Lancelot.
One world with one voice. One world with one choice. Let the people of the world unite. Let us hold hands in one vision and one light. No longer thinking about which way we will side. Bringing together all the voices, the whole world wide. One world with one voice. One world with one choice. I think we all agree deep down we don't want war. 'Cause there's been too much killing, too much fear standing at our door. Some people seem to think the best way to peace is to fight. But there's a lot of people not sure this is right. So there's a concept I think we can all come together on. Let's unify our vision, the whole world strong. One world with one voice. One world with one choice. What do we move too fast when we act in haste? What do we go on and divide the human race? How many people will die before we see? We can come together and learn to agree. One world with one voice. One world with one choice. One world with one voice. Choice, voice, voice. One world with one choice. One voice.
All right, so we just heard Three Weird Sisters with Falling from Lancelot off their album Hair of the Frog, and Todd Allen with One Voice from his album Earth Changes. It's time for our Pagan FM Almanac, and today is March 21st. which marks the vernal equinox and the holiday of Ostara. On this day, the sun enters Aries. The moon is currently waxing crescent and will reach first quarter on Wednesday, March 25th. March 28th marks the passing of Scott Cunningham, who was born on June 27th, 1956. He would have been about 4 years older than me. He did a lot in his short life. Born Scott Douglas Cunningham, Scott was the author of a number of books on Wicca and other alternative religious subjects. His book, Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, is arguably one of the most influential books about Wicca ever written. He was a friend and contemporary of other notable Wiccans and occultists such as Raymond Buckland, and was a third-degree initiate of the Serpent Stone Coven. Scott died on March 28, 1993, due to AIDS-related illness. And I'm kind of renaming the, what was I calling it before now? Oppression Watch segment. I'm just going to call it What Can We Do with What's Happening, and still talking about things that are going on, but want to touch on what we might be able to do about them. So, yeah, it was Repression Watch. Right now, I'm just really kind of upset, so I need to focus more on what we can do rather than just being upset, but we need to know what's going on. In this country right now, courts are going so far as to ban gender-affirming care not only for minors, but adults as well. Some states are considering directly permitting conversion therapy for LGBT individuals once again, but this time with a special focus on trans children. This is a type of therapy that we already know doesn't work, and which has resulted in suicide of individuals who have gone through it. The Idaho State House has just passed a bill that, if passed into law, would make it a felony to use a bathroom consistent with one's gender identity, forcing individuals to use bathrooms consistent with one's gender at birth. In a state that recognizes only two genders, those of us who are born with intersex conditions and chose a gender contrary to what was marked on our birth certificate are well and truly screwed, as are all trans individuals. In Ohio, a law is being considered requiring the registration of pregnancies and the reporting of miscarriages. The bill would require a certificate of life to be filled out on the detection of a fetal heartbeat, notwithstanding that a, quote, heartbeat can be detected before there is actually a heart that is in any way pumping blood. It would mandate the registration of all fetal deaths, either by miscarriage or by abortion. This comes on the heels of Ohio guaranteeing a right to abortion via a constitutional amendment. The fear in Ohio is that this creates a mechanism whereby pregnancies can be tracked by the government, and some feel that requiring unnecessary paperwork after a miscarriage creates further burdens on already grieving families. And as we know, constitutional amendments can be amended out. So at that point, you already have a registry. In Florida, a number of women have been subjected to legally mandated cesarean sections. Per ProPublica, it seems that Florida personhood laws can now permit hospitals to petition courts to mandate a C-section if a pregnant woman has had a prior C-section. While the risk of uterine rupture is greater for women who have experienced a C-section with a vertical incision, that risk is not nearly as great for women whose prior C-sections were horizontal, which is the way it's done mostly now. But the risks for a C-section, while better for the baby in the event of a prolonged labor, are worse for the mother and can include infection, blood clots, and complications for future pregnancies. Now it seems that hospitals and courts can simply ignore the person delivering the baby and mandate a C-section whether they wish it or not. The level of government intrusion is becoming truly troubling, and where conservatives often claim that they are very much in favor of small government, here we find them seeking to enact legislation that impacts everything from how we live our lives, how we give birth to our babies, not to mention whether we are able to produce clean energy rather than using fossil fuels, where we can go to the bathroom, what books we can read in schools, or even what facts we might be able to learn about our own history in our schools. So what can we do? Sadly, in Florida, there isn't a great deal you can do while you're living in the state. If you're pregnant and you've had a prior C-section and you want to give birth naturally, perhaps the best thing you can do is to visit a relative or a friend in a state that will permit you the freedom to make that decision on your own. Hopefully, Florida won't come after you. In Ohio and the rest of the country, it's about calling your representatives. We can't remain silent. Right now, it seems like the Trump cult is emboldened. The voices are loud and everywhere, and they don't care about civility. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what they say or who they say it to. And we need a counter to that. We need to be as loud as they are, but we need to be there with a more positive message, while at the same time making absolutely clear how utterly ridiculous, uneducated, intolerant, bigoted, and evil this so-called conservative messaging actually is. We need to let conservatives know that there is a social cost to bigotry, that there will be a price to pay. We need to let them know that their positions put them in a place where they are pariahs, where their views make them outcast in many places, and that there is a cost for readmission into a world of caring people, that cost being paid by meaningful atonement. Until then, there are some states where women, people of color, and for LGBTQIA people, where we're simply unsafe. I can only recommend that we need to leave those states, not visit them, not do business with companies in those states. For me, it means no Idaho potatoes or any other products from Idaho, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, Ohio, or other conservative, repressive states. It's time these states start feeling the economic and social impact of their actions. I think that if the Trump administration continues, and gods and goddesses forbid that conservatives manage to gain yet another presidential term, we need to have some sort of mechanism in place that will enable us to communicate without being monitored by the government. This is possible, but we need to set up some sort of underground because they will be coming after anyone who considers themselves to be liberal. I'm not sure what that mechanism looks like just yet, but hopefully I can find some individuals who want to work on a project like that with me. Right now, let's see. You know what? Let's just kind of finish up. Coming up next week, I've been thinking a lot about poetry. In the times of our ancestors, poetry was hugely important, and it was a part of magic. In part, poetry helped us to remember things, rhyming things, putting them into verse, helps us to remember things much longer and better than simply memorizing random lists. You can probably remember some poems that you learned as a child, certainly remember some folk tunes and things like that. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Ancients also believed that rhyme and rhythm gave extra power to words, and I think there is something to be said for that. Add on the imagery, the correspondences, as we spoke of tonight, and there's even more to the story. So that'll be the primary focus to next week's episode, and I look forward to seeing you all then. And you know what? Let's go out once again with Feather, Scale, and Hail and Farewell, because it's just a great ending to a show. See you next week. Blessed be.
parting of ways. Bidding